Oh, I am live. Okay. So at this stage of the game, you just completed the cross contour application on 4 forms. And now you're starting to look at design and composition. I took a step ahead when I was applying a cross contour, and I integrated this with a rectangle that already existed there. That was just a really easy way of interconnecting something that existed with something that was there. And I really like what happened here. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the design, and it mimics this kind of curl here, which I made it mimic this curl here. Now, one thing I recommend is you can't make all these decisions in one day. You have to kind of make some moves and come back to it the following day and reevaluate. Because when I came back today, I just started to notice that I like this curl here, and it'll be interesting if this goes up and then runs over and then runs up. And it kind of, this becomes like this consistent element of design or a common theme throughout the design. I hate using the word theme. It's applied to like theme parks and theme restaurants and stuff like that, but I guess it applies here a little bit. So that's something that I want to continue to replicate as an element of design. Just try to have variety so it's not the same thing every single time. The other thing I like too is this kind of weird shape. It almost looks like those new ergonomic pillows, if you will. And there's a similar shape down here. So I just kind of have 2 of those. I would like to incorporate a third, a fourth, possibly a fifth. I had this wheel here. I could cut this wheel in half or take like a quarter out and make another design there. And I think it could mimic some of this. But I think I want to balance all this out. So there's still some rectangles back here that I haven't even touched. There's some rectangles back here I haven't played with that at all. So I could repeat that again. And in terms of integrating or connecting things together, I'm going to show you one quick thing here. And I think I'm going to take this board off. Just bear with me. How's that? Good. Okay, so I think everybody can see this good. So if you look at this is something from a video before that I've done in a 3-point perspective. And I drew a little rectangle down here. Now, what I mean by integrating things or running something into something else, this is a great example. I'm going to run this guy into the bottom of this form. And all I have to do is take this first corner, connect it to the third vanishing point, run up a line, and I'm just going to stop it right in the bottom of that plane. I could continue this line and actually go in front of the form. Everything's an illusion, so you kind of do what you want. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this left side, connect it, and just put it inside of that plane. Stop the line inside of that plane. Connect to the third, or the other line here, connect to the third vanishing point, and then put it inside this plane. What I'm going to do now is erase everything that's inside of that. And I'm going to take this corner here, and I'm going to run it down to the right vanishing point. Take this corner here and run it to the left vanishing point. So now it appears, because I stopped in that bottom plane, that I pulled this up and it's somewhat holding this thing in place. Another thing I'm going to show you, so to carry on the cross contour concept, if you had something cross contoured, or if you want to cross contour this form and you want to blend this into it, imagine if you had 2 sticks of clay and you just like something this shape, and you just put them together, and then you use your thumb to kind of weld them, smooth out the corners, weld them together to become one whole. You can do that. So all you have to do is continue this line here, and I'll explain. And then that back corner line, you can continue that line too. Just erase this. I'll make these lines just a little bit darker so you can kind of see what the heck I'm doing. You can also, well, before I go any further, I'm going to take that line. Actually, I'll keep this drawn here so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to curl it in. And I can curl it in with the one on the back, but remember what we did before, where it starts to deviate from the line, you got to run it over to the other side, mark it. When it comes back into the line, you got to run it to the other side, mark it. So now I've got 2 marks, and then I have the distance between here and here. And I'm just going to try to mimic the same thing. It's not an easy angle to draw from. Okay, so you can kind of see how this blends into that there. You can have it blend on this side. Done. And if you also wanted to blend it going in this direction, I'm just going to explain this right now. So we drew lines going to that vanishing point. Let's draw lines going to the left vanishing point and see what happens. And then there's one here. So this same concept, you just kind of pull it and make that round. Run over the other side, right here. Run this over the other side, right here. Look at the distance between here and here, eye it. And you have yourself like this kind of like webbed or blended into that form. So that's how you integrate something into something else. If you're having trouble unifying a drawing, sometimes just connecting 2 forms together can do that. It literally unifies something. Now, is this in the, yeah, I think it's in there. A couple of things I was going to do here in terms of unifying. I'm just going to use my HB pencil here. Is I was going to take this one cube, this little cube here, we'll say a cube, and I'm going to pull it in this direction. So I'm just going to take those corners. I can do all 4 corners, but the third one I'm not going to see, so I'm just going to do these 3 corners. And you might not be able to see it yet until I erase everything that's inside of it. I'm not sure I want to do this because I did like that curve from that form on beneath it, and by doing this I'm hiding it. I don't know if I want that to happen, but we'll see. You got to try it out to see if it works. So I basically took this and I pulled it out, and this would be a good opportunity to do exactly what I just did here, and I could kind of morph the form, because this is somewhat of an organic edged form, and then I could pull this out here. And I got to run to the other side. So at this point, you're going to find yourselves in a tricky situation. Not a tricky situation. You're going to find yourself kind of stuck. You're not going to know what to do next. You're going to be, you'll have a creative roadblock. And whenever you have a creative roadblock, this is all about the design process as well, you have to kind of just make a move and try something out and see if it works. If it works, do it again. If it doesn't work, leave it for a little bit before you commit to not allowing it to work, and then take it out. I'm just going to do this. So you can kind of see I'm just blending this thing out, and these lines are so close to one another that I don't even have to use the ruler to find the marks on the other side, which is nice. It gets a little confusing here because of the old marks, but what I would probably do is cross contour this form as it's coming out to differentiate this between this. What's nice about these cross contour forms, a couple things. It shows volume of the object itself, which is nice because you can't apply a value to show volume. But it also allows variety. It shows if you have something like this and you have these compressed lines compared, sitting next to each other, juxtaposed next to one another. One has volume, they both have volume, but just there's a sense of contrast because of the compressed lines versus the open space. So that's why it's nice to kind of balance those out throughout your composition. I don't know if I'm going to keep this there. I may not, but I really am kind of getting into this, and I think I want to continue the line out to this section here. And I'm just going to make up my thickness. I'm just going to add another little. So if you saw what I just did here, and I'm just going to, you know what? I think that's just a little too thick. A little too thick before I commit to it. So I just added a little section, and I'm going to blend it out. And I'm going to blend this out, meaning curve, make a round. And then you go back in, you clean it up. And now it's starting to feel, this little moment here moves your eye around. It's starting to feel a little bit more complete as opposed to part of an idea. And all I'm doing now is I'm just gonna extend it out past the border. Sometimes if you don't have a plan of where it should go, that's what's great about a border. You can just kind of crop it out. In terms of the thickness of the form, where this back line is, I'd have to figure out exactly, actually I think I can do that now. I think that might be it. The other area that I was really interested in was up here. And for now, what I can do is just add a little piece right here and make a little curve. Wow, this curve's giving me some problems. And just by doing that small move, a lot of the work you've already done. Right now is just trying to make this work as a whole. But making that small move there starts to kind of repeat what's happening down here. So maybe I'll take something like this and run it that way or run it back down. I don't know, I'm really liking those moments. And then I might really think about what I'm going to do here and figure out some of these other spots. But it's coming towards the end. I'm starting to integrate things. I'm connecting things. I'm unifying things through connection, through pulling things through. That's another form of integration. And repeating areas of success. And also you're exploring more form. Like for example, what if I were to, see this little point here? I might keep it, I might not. But what if I just wanted to slice off the bottom part? Right? I just took the point out. Remember, you can always throw it back in. There's still a ghost of it there. And I was also thinking about if I were to pull one of these cubes out. Let's just do this really quickly now, and then I'll end the video. If I were to pull one of these cubes out right here, this is something I had in my mind, and I hope I'm able to figure it out in real time. So I pull one of these cubes out. I'm going to take this four corner. What I'm trying to do is see if I can pull this down and pull this out and to see if I can marry them together. I'm going to take this guy here and go straight down. And maybe it's just too big at the moment. And once this line here, and you definitely can't see this, this is where your eyes go crazy. I'm just putting a point, and I'm trying to meet where these two forms actually, I have a better idea. That top part met right here, right? And I ran this line over, which is the edge of this guy. So what I have to do now is find this back corner, which is right here. And then I take, so I basically, if this were to come flat on that plane, this is probably where I'm going to lose a lot of you. This stays the same. That line that I put in no longer is there, and this line I put in no longer is there. I'm no longer using that as a vanishing point for this particular one thing, and I'm going to connect it to this guy here, and I'm going to connect this to this guy here. And if I were to take everything out, you might be able to try to see what I'm trying to do. Just gonna follow this down. This goes there. Sorry, just bear with me for a moment. This goes here. The bottom of this is here. This goes here. This part really doesn't matter, but I'm just gonna put it in. Okay, now you can kind of see that it almost looks like a, this comes out and then it goes straight up into that guy. Almost like some kind of odd duct work on top of the building. And then at this point, I'm just gonna clarify this edge here so you can see it. So this is the corner that comes out of here. This is the corner that comes out of here. And it took a little finagling. So that's kind of where it is now. And then what I was gonna do is just make a little curl up. And there's gonna be a curl up here. And this one's gonna have the same curl, but I have to run it to the other side because I'm not sure exactly where it would go. That's the beginning, that's the end. And then there's this curl here. So it's starting to look like, probably ductwork, top of the building. So this came out there and it's starting to interconnect to this part. So everything's somewhat interconnected and unified. At least it's appearing that way a little bit more. Am I gonna stick with this? I kind of wish this pulled out more and then went up, but it is what it is. And I'll just live with this for a couple days and see if I want to stick with it. Alrighty, enjoy.